Welcome to We All Don't Wear Capes podcast. I am Chandler Struley, and with me, as always,
your friendly neighborhood co-host, Nate Turner. I had to say it like that.
All right, so
you didn't do it, so I had to do it.
Someone had to do it. So in case you didn't realize what we're talking about today, it's not Secret Wars. We lied. Completely lied. Because the reason being is I had to work a concert because I work security for concerts, and it was over Memorial Day weekend, and I was exhausted, and I didn't want to talk about Secret Wars because, well, Secret Wars is Secret Wars. And neither of us knew a whole lot about Secret Wars, to be honest.
I knew quite a bit.
Okay, you Googled it. You didn't have any prior knowledge before Googling it. Don't lie.
I knew about the new one.
Yeah, you knew about the new one. You knew about the one that we read 3 years ago because they revamped the Secret Wars. And then there's Secret Wars 2.
That was all hell breaking loose.
Yeah, so we're talking about Spider-Man today because why not? Because we've done a lot of DC things and we need to talk about a Marvel character.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because Spider-Man has a new movie coming out July 7th?
I think it's 7th. It's either 6th or 7th.
July 7th, 2017, Spider-Man Homecoming. So that's actually a huge thing in the Spider-Man world. They actually have the comics out, don't they?
I don't think there's a comic for Homecoming, but I know Renew Your Vows is out, and that's pretty awesome.
So the Spider-Man world is unreal. It's a lot. There's a lot of Spider-Man things. How many Spider-Man variants are there?
Godly. Like, just a godly vast amount. And any version that has ever existed or will exist possibly in the future, guess what? It appeared in Spider-Verse.
Oh, okay. So here's the list I have. F off. Okay. I have a list of a ton of Spider-Men.
Spider-Men. And women. There are women.
There's what, one?
No.
There's okay. How many other? There's Spider-Gwen. What's the other one?
There's Spider-Gwen. There's Spider-Woman. There's Spider-Girl. Gwen. I think there's a Gwenpool Spider-Girl thing.
There can't.
So.
Okay, so
it's so weird.
There's too many.
There's Spiderette or something like that.
You're making things up now.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Spiderette's married to Jane.
Oh my God. So there's a lot. There's a lot of. There's the Spider-Pig, which is not the reference to the Simpsons movie. He's called something else, but there's
Spider-Ham.
Is it Spider-Ham?
Yep, Peter Porker.
Okay, so and then there's Spider-Verse has all of them, and then there's Spider-Man 2099. There's Amazing Spider-Man. There's Ultimate Spider-Man.
There's Spider-Man 2211.
What? Okay, hold on. I need to look up all of these things because I don't believe you, and you could be right. I'm not saying that you're necessarily wrong, but I'm not saying you're necessarily right either.
It's so
there's a lot. All right, so the main Spider-Man, what one do they talk about the most? Is it Amazing Spider-Man?
It's either Amazing or Spectacular. It goes typically back and forth depending on how Marvel is doing at the time. But for the longest time, it is I would say Amazing.
So here's what we have. We have Spider-Man Earth 616. We have DC crossovers, Earth X, Exiles, House of M, the Mangaverse, Marvel Adventures, MC2, Spider-Girl, Spider-Man, Gary Drew, Spider-Monkey, Marvel Nemesis, Marvel Zombies version, Mutant X, newspaper strip, Powerless Ruins, Spider-Boy, Spectacular Spider-Man, Spider-Ham, Spider-Man 1602, Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Man 2211, Bruce Banner Spider-Man, Spider-Man Chapter 1, Spider-Man Fairy Tales, Spider-Man J, Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane, Spider-Man Pevitier Prabhakar.
I think it's just listing the universes.
Noir, Spider-Man Last Stand, Spider-Man there's so many universes where there's different.
So many.
There's Spider-UK, Spider-Gwen. All right, so there's a lot.
Yeah, there's quite a bit.
So Peter Parker's the main guy. Here's the thing I have to say with Spider-Man. And weirdly enough, I'm okay with it. I kind of enjoy seeing his origin story. Like, I get annoyed with Batman's origin story over and over again because everyone does the same thing. The movies have all kind of taken a different direction with it. And but very different directions, which I kind of like.
I mean, I'm kind of sick of it at this point, but I do enjoy seeing how they go about it.
I mean, with origin stories, every director and every creator has their own choice on how they want to portray.
With Homecoming, I'm happy that there won't be that whole origins there.
Yeah, it's just Spider-Man.
I mean, I assume it's going to be in there a little bit like, flashback sequence randomly.
Uncle Ben. Okay.
Because they didn't do that in Civil War, so.
They didn't do it. Okay. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you, and you're probably going to hate me. I still have yet to see Civil War
How?
because I don't watch superhero movies. Like, honestly, I don't watch that many superhero movies, which is probably bad on my part. But
It's on Netflix.
is it really right now?
Yeah, it came out like December on Netflix.
I'm going to have to look at it. Who do they have? Okay, so they have Tom Holland as Spider-Man. He's not the same character who was Spider-Man previously, right?
Nope, that was Andrew Garfield, who actually is my favorite of the movies.
I like Andrew Garfield. I missed who was it before?
It was Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire. He was weird.
You know, it wasn't that bad. It kind of suited the character how he acted. But then that whole, like, emo dance sequence down the street on Spider-Man 3 just kind of... What
Yeah.
was that?
I don't know what they were going with there. They're trying to be creative. Stop it.
I mean, it made James Franco kind of a household name in a way.
Yeah, well, James Franco was bound to get famous.
For one reason or another.
Yeah, for one way or another, he's going to get famous. I liked Andrew Garfield. I think he was the right age for Spider-Man too.
Yeah, he had the right look, in my opinion, because a lot of it is, to me, in a way, a look. For Tom Holland, he looks way too young. And now that I know he's also playing Nathan Drake in the Uncharted movie, that's going to be weird.
Nathan Drake is so not
Right?
young. Nathan Drake's like a man.
Oh, it's going to start out as young Nathan Drake, and it's going to progress over time in the movies. It's
So far they have Spider-Man: Homecoming and Infinity War for him, and they've already announced the Homecoming sequel
they did.
for 2019. It's apparently IMDb.com says that it's in 2019 we're going to get a Homecoming sequel.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but like that's so weird to me that they haven't even come out. Well, I mean, they haven't come out with the first one yet, and they're like, okay, we already have a sequel.
It's Disney.
They want to get us hyped. But I don't know. I liked Andrew Garfield. I think that he fit the bill for Spider-Man. I think he was just the right amount of like.
They're still continuing with the Venom movie that spawned off of it.
Really?
It's going to be in supposedly the same universe as the Amazing Ones, but not the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's confusing, but it's still happening.
But it's still happening. That's weird. I don't like when they do that. When they take things that aren't necessarily relevant to each other and put them in the same universe.
Well, the deal with Sony right now and Disney is there's an animated Spider-Man movie that's supposedly going to be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it's going to have Miles Morales.
Miles Morales.
And last name gets me every
Doesn't he
time.
have a black Spider-Man suit?
Yep.
Black and it's like
Black with red.
black with red outline instead of red with black. No, that's another one. I don't know. I like Miles. I think he could be a good one. He's one of another alternate Spider-Man. Does he have a different name? Or is he just
He's
Miles
Spider-Man.
Morales?
He's Spider-Man.
He's just Spider-Man?
Just Spider-Man.
I thought he had a different one. Yeah, I don't know. Spider-Man was one of the people who's been around forever, but he's like, no one knows really what he does.
What I find really weird is like in the comics, like currently, when they differentiate specifically in New York, I've noticed, because that's where Miles tends to hang out, and Peter Parker is international now. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
I always thought it was Manhattan where he was. I always think
It was a whole thing with that Doc Ock brain switch thing that made him international.
that's Doc Ock.
But
A villain that's really cool but also has a dumb name. Dr.
Yeah.
Octopus.
But when Spider-Man Peter Parker is there, they call him Spidey. Just Spidey, not Spider-Man.
So there's Spider-Man and then there's Spidey.
Yeah.
Weird. That is weird. That's weird that you can have two Spider-Men in the same universe to me.
I mean, it makes sense to a degree, especially with the fact that Spider-Man is now international. So,
I guess, all right. I guess I can't talk crap because Hal Jordan and then the new Green Lanterns are in the same universe. They're just Hal Jordan's galaxy-wide and the Green Lanterns are just Earth.
I forgot there was new Green Lantern.
Yeah, there's two of them. And it's weird.
Do they share a ring?
No, they have different rings.
Okay.
It's all because of Rebirth. We're not ducking DC. We're ducking Marvel. No, I don't know. Spider-Man's cool. more powerful than I think he is. He's one of those superheroes where it's like,
I think he holds the glue of the universe together in a weird sense. Specifically, Peter Parker, I think.
yeah. Is he? So is Peter Parker Amazing Spider-Man? I know he's amazing. Is he-
Amazing, spectacular, the original Ultimate, House of M. There's so many.
So Peter Parker's the main Spider-Man in a lot of
Yeah, and a lot of it, yeah. And there's different iterations. Like sometimes he's from India, sometimes not. Whatever.
So there's a lot. So there's various things.
Yeah.
So that's it. I mean, I like Peter Parker as a character. I think he's funny. He's kind of like the comedic relief almost in a lot of situations. He's the Wally West of the Marvel universe to me.
Yeah, I mean, he was the original inspiration for Deadpool.
I mean, you could kind of tell in the masks
Oh yeah, definitely in the
and
mask.
like
But
the
it's just like-
personality. Well, to a degree.
Deadpool just takes that to a whole new level.
Well, yeah. That's an interesting part about Deadpool is like I feel like that's Marvel's way of going. We wanted to not make things appropriate for children, like at all. Like Deadpool's we're going to be adults to make things crazy and inappropriate, but that's because we need a release from
Have you seen his new comic though?
Deadpool's.
Yeah.
No.
It's so childish. Like it feels like you're reading a cartoon, like Teen Titans Go cartoon.
I don't know if I like that or not. Deadpool should be.
It's amazing
He should
how
be,
bad it is.
He should be inappropriate and gross. And
Oh, it's so inappropriate.
like the game, the Deadpool game.
I regret buying that, but
Why do you regret buying that? You could buy.
I spent $50 on it. I beat it in 2 hours.
I think the game itself, you don't even need to buy it to beat the game. You just need to buy it to hear the dialogue. That's all you need the game for.
Then just watch it on YouTube.
Yeah, well, you bought it.
I sold it.
And yeah, now you could look at all the cutscenes and all the secret stuff, and I still enjoy it. Because it's Deadpool, and why not? He just says Deadpool's the Cards Against Humanity character of the Marvel Universe.
I wouldn't just say that. Just
Or just
comics.
the comic book universe.
Yeah.
He just says he says the stuff you're like, wow, they actually said that? Interesting. But
How did they get away with that?
I don't know. So what is Homecoming about? What is the main plot line behind this movie? Or not so much the movie, more the story of Homecoming.
From my understanding, since clearly the movie hasn't come out yet, it is basically Peter Parker has just come back from the Civil War battle, and Tony Stark has given him the suit, and he's trying to, quote unquote, live up to expectations. He has to check in with Tony Stark every so often, but he goes a little off the rails. He goes a little bit higher than Tony wants, and so Tony removes him, takes away the suit and stuff like that, and he still wants to fight. He still wants to protect his friends, family, and even the city. And there's Vulture in it, and supposedly, I think, Sandman.
I like Sandman. I think Sandman would be a good villain for him to face. So far they have...
I think they're really making up with this movie from what was expected at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2. Because there was so much, like, right at the end there with all the different things. I mean, Rhino started out.
So they have the Vulture,
Yeah.
who's played by Michael Keaton, in case you wanted to know.
I still have no idea who that is.
I'll show you in a second. And, okay, so I'm looking at the cast of this movie. They have, so far, they have Shocker number 2.
That's who it is. Shocker, not Sandman.
Shocker, which I kind of am okay with. They have Donald Glover, who's credited in this movie, which I want to see his role, because I don't know what he's going to play.
I think I know.
Do you think you know? What do you think?
I think Miles.
You think Donald Glover's going to be Miles Morales?
Yeah.
Yes. That'd be awesome. I'd be okay with that. Michael Keaton. He's Batman.
Oh, wait, is he the nipple Batman? The one with, like, the pointed out nipples?
I don't know. He was in
I'm
Batman.
really bad with actors. You know this.
You know Batman Returns?
Yeah.
That was him.
Oh.
Yeah. He's...
That was the second Tim Burton movie? Yeah, second.
Yeah, he's Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton was a Batman, and you're obsessed with Batman and know all about it, and then...
I didn't know who Leonardo DiCaprio was until freshman year.
Yeah, and I
because of you.
Yeah, that's upsetting. That's more upsetting than anything else, I think. Is the fact that you didn't know who Leonardo DiCaprio was. Ugh. Anyway, so that'd be cool. I'd like a Miles Morales Donald Glover. Please, Hollywood, make it happen.
Did you he's doing something in a Marvel TV show, I believe, too.
I think he's probably the voice of Miles Morales, if anything.
Maybe.
We'll find out in a second. I don't like the way the suit looks, like, at all.
The new one or the one that he's going to be wearing throughout most of the movie, supposedly?
Well, whatever this one is,
The one from Civil War.
the black with the black, like, etching and this belt thing.
Oh, I mean, that's like the old... I mean, it's definitely a callback to the old Amazing,
Yeah, but I feel
where
like...
he had that belt that had the signal that he would spray on, or not spray, but
Yeah, no.
shoot on to... God damn.
Yeah, you're struggling very, very hard, and it's okay.
Regardless of what I say, it just sounds bad.
Yeah.
But it had like a beacon or a light that
Something.
had Spidey's face on it.
He had something. He can't figure his life out right now.
Yeah.
No, I think it'll be interesting. I don't know the suit. See, I just can't get over the fact it's not Andrew Garfield, and I'm really upset because Spider-Man has gone through 3 different actors.
Probably more if we go farther back, but yeah.
The 3 we would know.
Yeah.
And I mean, Tobey Maguire he's way too old now to play Spider-Man.
I want to see him in a new movie.
No, you don't.
I want to see him play Uncle Ben if they do another reboot.
Man, that'd be so sad.
It's like, we're putting you out to pasture now, Toby.
You're gonna play Uncle Ben. Wouldn't that be funny though? That'd be a great cameo.
That would be the perfect.
Tobey Maguire's Uncle Ben in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
And they don't even show him other than him like getting shot down or something.
Yeah, they don't. All they show is that scene.
Yeah.
And it's like Uncle Ben, and then you have like the picture of him at like the funeral or something. It's Tobey Maguire's old face.
yeah.
Now I want that. Now I want that so bad. But Andrew Garfield was good to me. I mean, maybe Tom Holland's good. We can't say he's bad because we haven't seen the movie yet.
I mean, you watch Civil War.
Is Tom Holland the Civil War Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Sorry, I haven't seen the movie yet, so maybe that's...
He's, in my opinion, he looks too young. I don't know if he really is going... For all I know, when I see Spider-Man, it may be a great movie. But
Yeah.
the way he looks like he's in middle school. And Peter Parker got his powers somewhere between freshman and sophomore year of his high school career.
Yeah, so he's, and Homecoming's later, like quite a bit later in the Spider-Man story, isn't it?
Not really.
I thought he was. I thought Homecoming was like in the
Oh, okay. I
a
just want to
couple
point.
years after getting the suit.
I just want to point. Like, oh, do you mean the movie that's happening? Like
Well, I thought
after he gets a suit in Civil War and then pretty much just.
Wait, he gets a suit in Civil. I'm saying like he becomes Spider-Man, and there's some time before Civil War, and then there's got to be more time before Homecoming. So there's a few year span there, right?
No.
What?
He's Spider-Man for what sounds like maybe a year, and
Civil War happens.
then Tony Stark shows up at his place and it's like, hey, I know you're Spider-Man. By the way, I need your help and I'm going to upgrade your suit. Since you're running around with goggles, how the hell do you see out of these things?
You know what's the weird part? What I was just about to bring up. You know how people are really nitpicky about like the Green Lantern movie? A lot of people didn't like his suit.
Mm-hmm.
The whole eye movement of Spider-Man is weird to me. I know it's like a mechanical suit, but like the animatronics in his eyes seem so not.
The
normal
newest
to me.
trailer actually shows a clip from the movie where they make fun of that because some people have some issue with it and a lot of other people, because even in the comics, you can see how it moves. But, and I like the animatronics. I think that's cool because that's something you never got to see in the other ones.
Right.
Like because regardless of anything, Spider-Man may not show his face when he's out and about saving the world, but he has so much expression that you can't see.
Couldn't they have pulled a like a Deadpool? Deadpool's is all like CGI'd.
The reason I don't think they would do that is A, the movies are more serious, and B, they already have the Ultimate Spider-Man TV show that is basically, what if Spider-Man was more like Deadpool and voiced by Drake Bell?
That's who needs to be Spider-Man. Do you think Drake Bell right now could be Spider-Man?
He is.
I mean, like acting, like
I don't think so
I think-
because
do you think-
I don't think he wants to.
You think he's
I know
past his prime? And like,
possibly.
he's got to be what, late 20s?
Dude, he's like 35.
I thought he was. I mean, I'll say late 20s, early 30s. I didn't think he was mid 30s. But I don't
like
know.
he lost a lot of his money in record sales or something like that. And then he went back to voice acting for a while.
He's 30 years old. Fight me. He's almost 31, but still. So cool, because I was trying to think of how old he was when he was doing Drake and Josh. And we were probably...
Well, when he started the Amanda show, that was like... We're going on a really weird tangent here about Drake Bell.
We'll reel it back. But I don't know, Drake Bell does do a good voice. If you've ever seen the animated series, I agree that fits Spider-Man pretty well.
I do. I don't necessarily like the whole Deadpool side conversation thing, but I mean, it works for a kid's show, you know?
It's so weird that they have to like bring in Deadpool to a kid's show. I don't want them to.
What I love is the voice of Batman Beyond is Deadpool in that show.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
Will
fun fact.
Friedle?
Tobey Maguire's 41 years old. So he could easily get aged and play Uncle Ben. Hollywood, if you're listening to our podcast, please make Tobey Maguire Uncle Ben.
Just be like, Toby, we got the perfect role for you. You're coming back into a Spider-Man movie, and we're putting you out to pasture. Oh, if they do a Spider-Verse movie, bring all the Spider-Man.
That'd be great. Just have him play a different one. I want to. Okay.
No, I want to see Toby in emo Toby.
No, you don't get to see.
Just because I want the other Spider-Man to be like, what are you doing?
You don't get to see. Okay, I want to know who's in it. Oh, we forgot one. We forgot Superior Spider-Man.
Superior is awesome, but terrible at the same time.
So, in the main characters in Spider-Verse, just so that we know, because we keep talking about it, are Spider-Man, Superior Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, Silk, Kane, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Girl, Ultimate Spider-Man, which is Miles Morales, Ultimate Black Widow, Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Girl, Mayday Parker, Disney's 2010s animated Spider-Man, Morlun, and I'm pretty sure Spider-Ham is in there too.
Oh yeah, Spider-Ham's in there for sure.
Who is this Spider-Man? Why is it
Which one?
Disney's 2010s animated Spider-Man?
That's the
It's Ultimate Spider-Man.
the Ultimate TV show. They list it like that because there already is Ultimate Spider-Man as a comic.
Who's more?
The reason they went with the title Ultimate Spider-Man as the TV show is because he becomes the Ultimate Spider-Man rather than just being part of the Ultimate Universe. Mm-hmm. So it's weird.
Yeah, okay, so that one has a lot. I forgot about Silk.
Yep.
I forgot Silk was a thing.
I think she dies in Spider-Verse or sacrifices herself to like the weird spiderweb creation thing.
I don't like the fact that... Okay, so here's my problem with the Spider-Verse in general, is that there's too many spider people. Like, there's... I always hate it when they, like, overcomplicate, like, origin stories and they add so many people. It's like, why? Why do you have to add 15 different spider people?
I like the fact that there's a Spider-Man that's Uncle Ben.
That's just like having Thomas Wayne be Batman.
Yes, but this Uncle Ben went on a murderous rampage. So.
And Thomas Wayne didn't at some point?
I mean, he was a very lethal Batman, but
Exactly. Just point proving, Tobey Maguire should play Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben Spider-Man, bring it back. I want Tobey Maguire to kill people. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. It's a podcast. I think I can say whatever I want. But
freedom of the press, man.
Whew. First Amendment. No, I don't like that there's so many spiders because there's too many to keep track of in my mind, and they all have their own spin-offs. Like Silk is a pretty known. A relatively
She has her
known
own comic.
Yeah, she has her own comic. Spider-Gwen has her own comic. I'm pretty sure Spider-Girl has her own comic.
She used to. It was brief.
Like they all have their own thing, which I get because you have to have their own so then people know who they are, and then Spider-Verse isn't as complicated.
Okay, I'm curious. Out of all the iterations and various multiverses, I would say, what is your favorite Spider-Man?
My favorite Spider-Man? I like Ultimate Spider-Man. I think he's cool.
Which one?
Oh, God, I don't remember which one.
It's only Peter Parker or Miles.
I like Peter Parker. There was one. There was I read the comic and I have it. I think it's Ultimate Spider-Man. It was the Iron Spider. with the
Yeah, he
gold,
becomes the Iron Spider.
with the golden yet red suit. That was kind of cool. I like that suit, but I think that's a different person, isn't it?
Nope.
The animated series was a different person.
The animated series brought in, I want to say his name. It's like Amadeus.
It's
something
the
like that.
little
Cho.
It's the.
I know his last name's Cho.
I think it's Amadeus Cho. It's the little genius kid who knows how
Yeah.
to run the suit.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why Peter never uses the Iron Spider suit except for in emergencies is it's very hard for him to control because it's completely different from his suit, and it's very much more like an Iron Man suit, which
Go figure, right?
but with more controls for some odd reason.
because he got stuff on his back.
Yeah, and I don't know why.
Because he's a spider. He has spider legs, Nate.
Why does he need that? He can stick to walls.
Apparently not in the suit.
But I would say my favorite is also Peter Parker Ultimate.
It's just like I feel like that's the one we know the most.
I don't know.
I feel like that's the most animated. That's all the animated ones, isn't it? Well, except for like the old one where it was like Amazing Spider-Man and Friends, and it had like
No.
fire. It had like what was her name? It was like Iceman and
Oh God, I forget her name.
is it Firestorm?
No.
Not no. There's her name. Oh man, now I'm gonna look it up.
But I mean, like,
Sorry
honestly,
for the
my
tapping.
favorite storyline, and sadly, this is his last storyline in the Ultimate Universe, is the death of Spider-Man.
Why is that your favorite?
Because A, he saves not only the most like important superhero in the Marvel Universe, Captain America, for some odd reason, from being assassinated. He fights all of his greatest villains and wins with a bullet wound as he's dying, then finally finishes off the Goblin, and then finally dies, and he finally gets rest, and you get to see this beautiful scene where there's also this YouTube channel that made a animated, what are those called, motion comics of it,
Yeah.
with great voicing and even some nice background music. I don't remember who made it, but watch that. It's so nice.
So-
And like, I want to see that movie, like exactly as the comic had it.
Yeah, have fun trying to pick out a movie that's going to be exactly like the comics. That never.
Andrew
happens.
Garfield deserves that movie.
Andrew Garfield deserves that movie.
He deserves that movie.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I still think Andrew Garfield should be should be Spider-Man. But it is super difficult to bring back that cast now that he's gone. Like I feel like you can't take away Spider-Man and be like, oh, by the way, we're just gonna use him. Tom Holland sucks.
I mean that's kind of what they did with Andrew Garfield.
How?
Well, there was like some dispute or something with Andrew Garfield and one of the head Sony executives in some meeting, and basically it wasn't that bad. From the sounds of it, he basically got up to answer a phone call and left the room, and somehow that's how Amazing Spider-Man ended. And he was supposed to have 2 more movies plus the Sinister Six movie and the Venom movie.
So he was supposed to have a ton of stuff.
Yeah. So
That's unfortunate. All right, I had to look this up, but I'll talk about it in a second. Do you think? So I think one of the biggest arcs now is Spider-Man Wedding Vows.
renew your vows.
Renew Your Vows. Sorry, could that be a movie? Do you think they'll ever make that? Or do you think they'd have to do like I don't know, like the Superman
I don't think so.
wedding album? I have the Superman wedding album.
The only
comic
reason
book.
I don't think so right now is because A, they have enough on their plate with all the Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
It would be far off if it happened. But it sounds like the Insomniac game that's coming for PS4
Yeah.
is going off of that kind of, because a lot of background information has come out in like the last, I don't know, year about that game. And A, it looks awesome. It's completely separated from the movie universe, current comics, etc. They made their own thing, and it's very clear with the new white symbol on his chest. He's married to Mary Jane. He has a child. He's been Spider-Man for a few years, and from what we see of gameplay, it's him fighting Mr. Negative's guys.
Wow. We're really taking it back.
Mr. Negative's came back recently, actually.
Did
Yeah.
he?
Yeah. He's in whatever you call Marvel now. I mean, like the last Marvel thing I remember was something called like Marvel Now. Just like
Well, Marvel's weird, right? In the whole Marvel universe is weird right now just because of Captain America, which is okay. So
I found out what happened with that, by the way.
in case you didn't know, Captain America's on Hydra's side now.
He's the leader of Hydra.
He's leader of Hydra. Oh man, that's something else. That's why Marvel's just trying to make everything weird. Do you think? Here's a question. And by the way, in case you didn't know, we're going to be talking movies, general Marvel and DC movies on our podcast later this week because we're doing 2 because we missed last week technically.
It's all Chandler's fault.
Yeah, it's my fault. I'll take the blame for it. Whatever. I'll own up to it. We're going to be talking more general movies, but this is just a topic is, do you think in our lifetime we'll see like enough iterations of like Marvel and DC movies to catch like all the major arcs? Do you think they'll go that far?
God, no.
You don't think so? You don't think we'll see like a live action like Death of the Family or Court of Owls?
I don't think you could do a live action Death of the Family.
Why not?
Have you read it?
You could do it.
I mean, I guess you could, but you would remove so much because of the straight up gore that's in it.
Yeah, but I think that, you could do it. They have to. I feel like they have to do like the major ones. They have to do like Blackest Night. They have to do Infinity War. They have to do.
I don't think we'll ever see Blackest Night.
You don't think we'll see Blackest Night? Man, I want so bad.
I can see them alluding to it, or having Black Lanterns exist in a specifically Green Lantern movie, but I do not see an actual Blackest Night movie.
I think the Blackest Night movie would have to be so far away because
They would have to build so much for that.
because the Blackest Night movie everyone's dead and then they come back to life as Black Lanterns except for like
Well, it's not even that. You need people that are dead, including 2 firestorms. So you have to have one firestorm that gets resurrected and then another firestorm to be the current one.
You have to have Deadman, which no one knows who he is.
And how would you, seriously, that movie, no matter what, I mean, I like Deadman as a character to a degree. He's very interesting throughout all of the comics and everything. But his origin, his comics are not great.
It's weird. He's a cool character. He's that weird, background character that you kind of dig. You're like, okay, yeah, he's cool, but he's not that. He's important, but not. He's more important than I think he is, but he's also,
He just comes in and tells everyone, hey, this stuff's happening. You needed to know by possessing other characters.
he's like Dr. Fate in the Injustice 2 game.
Oh, my God. Pretty much.
He is. He's the guy who comes in and says ominous things and then leaves, and that's it. That's it, really. He's just he's the guy who keeps the story going.
I mean,
He's the in between person.
yeah, I feel it. But
That's a different conversation. I think. There's so many things you can do with Spider-Man because he's in so many he's in a lot of things, but also not he's oh yeah, I'm in this and this and this. He's also in the Avengers, but you don't really see that.
Yeah. He used to be a major part of the Avengers, not so much anymore. But honestly, the one movie I want to see Spider-Man, if it's a whole universe thing, is specifically either Civil War done right, because Peter Parker has such a major influence on the whole Civil War dynamic.
Because he's in between. He's the in between, right? He's the neutral character.
Not even that. He sides with Iron Man at first, but switches sides.
Yeah, and I don't. From my understanding, you really don't see that.
You don't see it at all.
Yeah,
and it's not like he was hired to do it like he is in the movie. He just sided with Tony because it made sense to him at the time.
Mm-hmm. And then he learned, and
he had to reveal his identity to the world and everything, and that caused a lot of issues.
Yeah. I'd like to see the iteration with the Iron Spider. I think that could be cool. I think that plays into Civil War, doesn't it?
Yeah, he gets it from Tony because he joins Tony's side.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not even kidding.
So here's the thing: doing Civil War is cool, but there's too much going on in the universe at the time to do Civil War correctly.
I don't know why they focus so much on Captain America.
There's so much, like there's the whole, like there's X-Men Civil War parts, there's
Yeah.
like the most major one to me is like the whole like Wolverine story in Civil War. Like there's so much. You pick the Iron Man cap, which is, I mean, the brunt of it, but you have to like, there's so many other parts. It'd be like doing Blackest Night. Blackest Night doesn't just affect the Green Lanterns. It's the whole DC universe.
Yeah, and that's the issue I have with Civil War, honestly. Like, yes, I'm not saying Civil War wasn't a good movie. It was fun to watch. But honestly, the whole movie, up until that fight scene at the airfield, I was like, when's Spider-Man actually going to show up? When's he actually going to be in suit? And then it was like maybe 10 minutes.
Which you can't do with Spidey. What are they going to do? So, with Tom Holland, they haven't done Homecoming will be the first movie with Tom Holland as himself, right? Like by himself?
Yeah, by himself. I believe Iron Man's in it. So, I believe Black Panther's getting something in it too.
From my understanding, you see Captain America and Iron Man are the two people listed.
Oh, I didn't know Cap was going to be in it.
Well, I mean, I'm sure if
I assume it's like. Actually, I saw
flashbacks?
that. I saw a clip the other day of, and I believe it's taken off now, but it was from Civil War. Like he's hiding behind the thing, waiting to jump out and steal the shield. He's like, "Is that my cue? Is that my cue?"
No, that's weird. So my question is, I forget they did a trilogy with Tobey Maguire. Mm-hmm. Did they do a trilogy with Andrew Garfield?
They only got two.
They only got two. So do you think they'll try for another 3 with Tom Holland? Because Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire were two different stories, but you had the beginning. That's the hard part. With Andrew Garfield, you had a beginning story. Same with Tobey Maguire. Andrew Garfield was Andrew Garfield was that one. With Tom Holland, you have he was in Civil War and now he's in Homecoming. So he's in 2 major movies, but not a solo like story.
He has a solo story this time around, I know, but you're not. I don't think you're getting the full origins throughout it, and I don't know how far this one's going to go because this is a deal between Sony and Disney to release the movies. And I know for a while Sony was pushing the whole Spider-Man should be part of it, and then Disney or Marvel initially wasn't having it because copyright issues. Then Disney took over, and then it turned into this whole thing where Sony wasn't really doing much pushing, Disney wasn't pushing, and then finally Sony and Disney just came together and
finally agreed.
Yeah.
Finally made terms with each other. I think that's interesting. I think that's worth, a movie, but I still think Andrew Garfield deserved to be the Spider-Man in these movies. I don't think he was bad. I think he's probably the better of him and Tobey Maguire.
I see why they went with a new Spider-Man for this. Like, I think they should. I mean, it's a bad thing to have multiple of them going on. Like, in the case of, I would say, The Flash right now, you have that TV show and then the movie coming out. That's going to be confusing, regardless.
Yeah.
But honestly, I would have preferred having that confusion with like, hey, we have the Amazing Spider-Man movies going on right now, and in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we have just Spider-Man with Tom Holland.
Yeah, that's more reasonable. I think that'd be an easier,
that would have been an easier
to
fix. I would said, but also more money.
Yeah, I think.
Sounds like Sony's fitting most of the bill on the Spider-Man movies, though.
Really?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Why do you think? Why do you think that they would do that? Because they want Spider-Man movies?
Well, they own it. They own the IP for movie and intellectual property, other than I think comics and limited TV shows, something like that.
Weird. Do you think Spider-Man will ever get? There's one thing that I loved about the Spider-Man franchise. I think it was it Spider-Man 2, the video game? Those games were so much fun to play.
Oh my god, yeah.
The open world, just like you just get to fly around as Spider-Man.
If you guys don't know, but Spider-Man 2 has been like the pinnacle for superhero games for a long time, up until about I would say Arkham City. And
Yeah.
then Spider-Man took keys from Arkham City and kind of did their own thing. And I mean, I loved playing the Amazing Spider-Man game, and I liked Amazing Spider-Man 2. It was very short and not as fun as the Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Yeah.
But all in all, still really fun games that did a lot more for superhero games than anything else, I would ever say.
The Amazing Spider-Man 1 kind of brought out that combo, the fighting style that you like, the Arkham City, the Arkham games fighting
Oh, yeah.
style, where it's kind of button mashing, but also not, where it's like timing and.
It's timing, combos, and special moves.
Well, I would say. I can't say if it was. I didn't know when the Spider-Man game came out. I would assume Kingdom Hearts had that style before Spider-Man games, right?
Kingdom Hearts?
Doesn't Kingdom Hearts that same fighting style? It's
No.
it's combo based, isn't it?
Not really.
Yes, it is. Don't lie to me.
It's chaining.
It's combos. Chaining and combos are almost the same exact thing.
In my view of things, not really. Combos are so like in a fighting game, you can do the same move multiple times, switching it in a certain order consistently. Whereas Kingdom Hearts, your combo, like I'm gonna say like this, it's gonna be confusing, and I know that. You make this consistent chain. So let's say 4 square. That's going to do a specific move at the end, and then let's say I do 3 square, triangle, square, circle, etc. It consistently changes the moves, and I can go into different moves from those. And it's not really a combo. It's more of you change the move.
Okay, like I understand that. I see.
That's why I see it as chaining.
I can see that. I agree that they could be different, but regardless, I mean, the Spider-Man games were what, early 2000s? The first Spider-Man game was probably early 2000.
If we're talking about movies, yeah.
But like the game, the
If we're talking about like Enter Electro, that was like 90s, early 90s.
no, I'm saying the PlayStation 2 Amazing Spider-Man,
Free roam.
the free, which was
Spider-Man 2,
which was the coolest part.
Yeah, and it was the first game to actually have Spider-Man touch the ground, like actual ground, without being inside of a building for some odd reason.
Yeah, or like something stupid. You could go on the ground, you could capture criminals and all that.
Yeah.
I don't remember the story
I
of
believe
it.
it was very close to the movie.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure they followed the movies, but like
I know the third game, for some reason, had a lot of Wii controls for the Wii version, and it's because you kept fighting New Goblin. And then the third version, or the third game for the movies of not Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire movies,
Yeah.
also had a black edition for PlayStation 3.
Ooh. But no, those games were fun. I think because they were like playing them now. I'm sure they would be
Oh
awful.
God, Spider-Man 3 especially, just no, like everything's wrong with Spider-Man 3.
But it'd still be. It's that like nostalgia game. It's like playing Tony Hawk's Underground 2. Like you're like, all right, this is gonna be the worst graphics ever. But I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play that one level we all played where you go into like
Now
the
you know why I keep buying Kingdom Hearts as they keep being re-released.
yeah. But that's kind of different because you're just getting the same game but just prettier. That's all you're doing.
I bought it on PS3, then bought it on PS4. Looks exactly the same.
Yeah, that's dumb. That's so dumb. You didn't know Nate loves Kingdom Hearts.
Maybe we'll do an episode on that.
No, it has nothing to do with comics. I don't care if
They
there's-
have manga.
I don't. That's not the same thing. In manga, you read right to left, not left to right. It's wrong. I don't care. You can fight me on it. I just don't want to talk about Kingdom Hearts. I've played it before, but the story's way too complicated to go on into.
I could do it in 5 minutes.
Sure, you could, but there's like Kingdom Hearts has so many games, and then they all connect somehow, but also they don't. It's like when Star Wars released, like 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 3 and a half, 7, 3.5, and now there's 8. It's like that. It's like 1, 2, 15 other games that are before and after that, and then there's then there's 3. It's like why?
It all makes sense.
If you truly love the game and you've played all of like every game.
If you're like me and done everything in every game, yeah, you know the story hard.
Yeah, but like to me, I'm like, okay, I kind of get it. I'm understanding. And then you're like, no, there's so much more. That's why there's tons of games. But regardless, back to Spider-Man. I don't know why. This is actually a lot about Spider-Man, but also tangents, which is, I think, the biggest fault with our podcast is like, we go with main topic.
I like our tangents.
Go off to something that has nothing else, and then come back around, and then somehow get to Spider-Man. Do you think Spider-Man's underrated in a lot of his movies?
I would say currently, yes. In like amazing, no. Possibly in the Tobey Maguire movies. I would say that though.
Do you think? I mean, I feel like he's a lot. I think he has really cool power. I mean, he has cool powers. He can walk on walls. He's actually really strong. Does he have like almost super strength?
He has super strength.
Because he can. What was his ability to lift weight?
It was like 15 times or something like that.
It was something ridiculous, like how much he can lift, and he's actually really cool. But he's not. He's actually in the Marvel universe a ton. Like he's one of the pivotal characters.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't know that by the cinematic universe.
I mean, if you want to know one of my major issues with the Tobey Maguire movies?
What?
If you watch all the movies in sequence, you will realize Spider-Man does not defeat the villains.
What do you mean?
Either the villains take themselves out or give up.
Seriously?
Yeah. Green Goblin tried killing Spider-Man. Spider-Man just evaded. Doc Ock realized what he was doing wrong and sacrificed himself to save all of whatever, because he was making like a miniature sun or something to power something.
Weird.
And in Spider-Man 3, New Goblin defeats Venom, killing Eddie Brock at the same time.
Okay.
And New Goblin dies, and Sandman, realizing all the stuff he's done wrong, just vanishes away.
Okay. You know what? I remember that. They don't.
He doesn't defeat any of them.
Maybe because they didn't want violence with it back then. Although no, that's a lie. It was early 2000s. We had way less rules. There were so many less rules. You could have had so much more violence in a PG-13 movie.
Right?
So, here's my question. Speaking of villains, because you brought this up, who's your favorite one? Who's your favorite Spider-Man villain? Of just Spider-Man, not like him facing...
Just Spider-Man.
Not him in like the Avengers facing people, like just a Spider-Man villain.
I would have to say... I would say Venom. Or Carnage. Or Toxic. One of the symbiotes. I don't know.
You think one of the symbiotes?
Yeah.
You know what? I like the symbiotes too. I like... Those guys are really cool because they're really dark. They're really creepy characters. Like they're... It's weird to say that I feel like they're like slimy. Like I feel like they would feel slimy.
They are slime.
Yeah, but I feel like they look like they wouldn't be, but I feel like I would touch them and I'd be like gooey. That's a weird thought, but that's something I've thought of before.
Have you seen the trailer for that movie Life?
No.
Like it's like Ryan Reynolds in space.
Oh, the Martian thing where it's like the goo?
Yeah, it was made. Apparently, it was made by a subsidiary of Sony Pictures, and a lot of people thought that might be a prequel to like an anti-Venom movie.
Well, because it could be a symbiote.
It looks like one, doesn't it?
A little bit. If we're being honest with each other. I like Green Goblin. I like either or, whether it be Norman or Harry.
Yeah.
I think that's a classic character.
I like the ultimate version.
Yeah.
I don't like the regular version.
Why not?
It's just a guy in a mask.
It's just a guy in a mask.
Whereas the Goblin from the Ultimate Universe has freaking wings, hands that are on fire, shoots fire from his eyes, has impenetrable skin.
Calm down. Do you like the Tobey Maguire Green Goblin with the suit?
Not Willem Dafoe.
You don't like... Okay, I'm not saying... Okay, regardless of who the actor is, do you like the suit with the classic glider? Do you like the...
I mean, it's an iconic image. I will say that. It's kind of like Batman's Joker. Like, you have to see that somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, even in the Ultimate Universe, there was references to it, but he never took that exact image. So
Yeah, I like Green Goblin. I like Kingpin too. I feel like Kingpin's one of those characters that is notable, but also like people don't care. Or like he's used, but he's not overused.
I don't like him that much.
Why not like Kingpin?
I don't understand why he has super strength.
Because he's a giant man.
He's just fat.
Because if you're a big person, you have super strength in the hero universe. All right, this is just how it works. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Shocker's popular, but also weird to me that he's used more.
I like Electro when he's not. I like Amazing Spider-Man movie Electro, or like the Ultimate, which he was based off of, where it's not like I'm in a green suit with lightning bolts.
Here's a question: is Electro or Shocker the one in the Andrew Garfield?
That would be Electro.
Does Electro? Do you like Jamie Foxx Electro?
I love the intro for him, where he's just obsessed with Spider-Man and talks to himself.
Yeah, where he's kind of. It's weird that it's Jamie Foxx. I feel like he should
It's
be.
so weird.
He should be like a cooler character, and then all of a sudden it's like, nah, he's just weird.
He's just creepy, and then he turns into that cool character.
Yeah. What about? Okay, so I don't know this character a lot. What about Hobgoblin?
That was Harry.
But Harry's also Green Goblin.
Harry becomes Green Goblin after his father had actually passed. He, as an inspiration, he took up Hobgoblin. Other people have taken up Hobgoblin. In this third Spider-Man movie, instead of going Hobgoblin, because I don't think anyone really wanted to see basically the Green Goblin suit with a orange hood again.
Yeah, no, I wanted that.
They made a new character called New Goblin.
Oh,
They never actually said that in the movie though.
dumb.
So weird.
Dumb. There's also like the little ones like Chameleon, Vulture, Tinkerer, Doc Ock.
Mysterio. Oh God, he's so bad and so cool at the same time.
Yeah, or what's his name? Sandman. That's a classic. That's a classic.
It's a classic, yeah.
He's been around forever.
I don't like how often he goes back and forth between being a hero and a villain.
Yeah, you have to pick a side, man. So the original
Or you
five,
become Deadpool.
the original 6 villains were Chameleon, Vulture, Tinkerer, Doc Ock, Sandman, and Lizard.
Yep.
And then there was Living Brain, Electro, Big Man, Mysterio, Green Goblin, Craven the Hunter.
Ah, Craven.
Do you have something to say about Craven?
He's so weird.
They're all weird. They're all villains. And they're from the 60s, so they're all really
He doesn't wear
dumb.
underwear.
Well, guess what? He's weird. He's a villain. He doesn't.
I don't know why they needed to just state that, like, ever. It was stated in both Spider-Man and Deadpool.
They have. Oh, that's something I need to talk about with you. Because I forgot that I had an issue with this until I remembered the character, Rhino. Here's my question: why is he in a suit in the movie?
Because, are you talking about Andrew Garfield movie?
Yeah, because the Rhino isn't in a suit; it's just a dude.
Well, he is in a suit sometimes.
But
Like, okay, do you remember that Spectacular Spider-Man TV show? By the way, that is my favorite Spider-Man TV show, the Spectacular one from when, like, Kids WB days.
yeah,
That one's awesome. That was actually a suit. He just couldn't get it off.
but the actual Rhino is just okay. He's in a suit, but he's just a giant man.
I mean, sometimes it's a serum, sometimes it's a suit, sometimes it's genetic modification, etc. But I'm okay with it to a degree. I didn't like the actor for it. I don't know why he was so Russian. Like, that seemed like a stereotype to me. Like, and I was just like, why? Why couldn't you just have him be Russian?
Well, because back then, here's the thing: if you're a giant man
He wasn't that big though. He was at the very beginning of the movie. He was the guy who got his pants pulled down.
yeah, but he's still Rhino. He's still a giant character, like in size comparison. Colossus, Russian. Who else? Juggernaut. He's British, but I think or Russian.
No, he's British.
He's British. Like they're all foreign because for some reason they have to have an accent. They can't just be like a dude. But like Rhino, I think the part that bothers me the most is that he turned into like a rhino. That's still to me that's just weird.
Like the robot. I mean, what I was upset about on that movie is, like, all the trailers and everything. You're like, oh, this looks like an awesome fight scene that's going to happen in the movie, and that whole scene that you saw throughout the trailers, it's just that. It's at the very end. I mean, it was a good way to kind of end the movie. It's like, yeah, he's coming back into the swing of things. I think they should have ended like with him in his depression and then been like, Spider-Man will return.
Okay, but here's the problem with that. You can only have so many movies that end dramatically. Like,
no Marvel movie, no superhero movie ends in depression. Other than Sucker Punch. If you use Sucker Punch on, no.
I think, well, Sucker Punch is depressing.
They all die at the end.
Yeah, it's
Spoiler alert.
That's why everyone dies. Everybody's dead. Well, that movie's also. I feel like you really like that movie.
Oh,
because you're a psychology major, and that movie's like very psychology heavy because of its themes.
It's amazing to me.
It's a cool idea. It's weird. It's very weird.
And I'm going to state this because I don't know how many times I've had to clarify it in the past. It's not because they're all hot chicks that I like it.
I mean, it helps, but it's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie, and the comic book's even better.
Yeah.
So,
what was I going to say to you? Oh, not Rhino. What was who did I was going to say? Oh, Batman versus Superman. That one kind of ends in a depression.
how?
Am I thinking of a different ending?
Superman dies, but then you see like the stuff.
But you don't know. Okay, spoiler alert if you haven't seen that movie, which I'm sure everyone who watches this podcast has seen that movie. Superman's dead. Dead.
But
Air
then
quotes.
you see like that power of his that from Man of Steel that let him fly, like raising the rocks off of the coffin.
But you don't see. But it's an assumption. It's like it's the closest thing you could end a movie where it's like sad. It's like Superman's dead. We all know he's coming back.
I swear to God, he's coming back in Justice League.
Well, I'm sure they have to make 14 movies before they get Justice League, apparently, which is actually not true because they're not doing that. They're making Wonder Woman, and I think that's it.
It's 3 movies till Justice League. So
who? Flash?
No. I'm not saying like up until from now. I'm saying it from the beginning. It was Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Wonder Woman, Justice League.
Which is so weird. I mean,
I guess Suicide Squad. So 4.
I think that Justice League. Do you? We're using a lot of stuff we could use for Friday, but we digress because I want to talk about it.
We're just going to talk about movies this week, okay? Let's just go with that.
Yeah, this week it's just movies. With Justice League, do you think that? This is not about Spider-Man, but I have to ask you this question: do you like the fact that they don't do the same thing Marvel did?
What do you mean?
Like they don't have a movie for every character before going into the movie? You don't like that?
No.
Do you want an introduction movie before going into?
Yes. I am so tired of origin stories that I already know. I mean, Aquaman's going to be a fresh thing.
Perfect.
But we already saw Cyborg's origin in Batman vs Superman. It was very brief, but that's pretty much it.
I think here's the thing. I think showing Cyborg, Aquaman, and Flashes. I'm assuming they're going to show those 3. Isn't going to be that bad because you don't oversee them. You never see Aquaman. That's for sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're not even doing the orange. I hope he wears an orange shirt, like a bright orange shirt somewhere in the movie.
Probably at the beginning. They can't because it's not the blonde one.
I don't care. He has blonde hair.
It's Jason Momoa.
He does actually have blonde hair in the movie. It's not like all blonde. It's like he has streaks of blonde for some reason.
Oh, just to hint at the fact that we get it. When he's a Samoan. Like, we get it. You just pick the biggest, scariest looking man. Or he's Hawaiian. I forget which one. I don't know what Momoa is.
Moana.
No, stop. No, that one should be interesting. Cyborgs could be cool. Like a more in-depth cyborg, not like here's what happened.
I hate the way Cyborg looks.
Well, I wish it was the Teen Titans version too, but it's not gonna be.
No, it's... Okay, I forget the actor's name, but we're going to cover you all except for the left side of your face in CGI stuff.
They kind of have to. Don't? I mean, they don't have to. But DC has a very terrible job where if they can't, they have to make the suits CGI if they're not easy, if they're not just like suits.
I mean, they don't have to.
But they do.
I get it, like parts of it, like Iron Man suit. But guess what? They were still freaking wearing the helmet.
it still comes back to Green Lantern. Like, don't make everything CGI.
But like literally, like you see that trailer, it's just that like right under his eye, part of his nose, and up of like the top left of his face is the only thing that's actually not CGI on him.
Well, I mean, in some Cyborg versions that he's pretty suited up.
I get that, but I mean, you can see through him at parts.
And then there's Flash, which is going to be weird.
Yeah.
I think a Flash origin story would be kind of cool just in a cinematic way, but since I've seen this TV show, I know how they could do it easily.
Yeah. I also think they, honestly, I think they should have done something like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in a way.
Yeah. I don't know. That'll be interesting, but do you think, how far, this is completely going back to Spider-Man, how far do they go with Spider-Man? I mean, that gets how far do they go with Marvel? Because Spider-Man's in like every Marvel thing.
No.
Do they take Spider-Man and put him into like all the movies he's supposed to be in? Or do they go, I mean, what happens after Homecoming? Apparently there's 2 of them, so what happens after Homecoming, the sequel? Is Spider-Man just
I have
out
no
for
idea
a while?
what the sequel will be. So
I don't know, man. Until they do like a Renew Your Vows or do a Civil War.
I want to see Renew Your Vows with Tom Holland. Just like, I'm this 16-year-old kid, and I'm married and have a kid, and I'm 35.
Yeah.
Saving the city.
That's when you bring Tobey Maguire back. This is Renew Your Vows. Screw continuity. Just we're gonna interchange the 3.
I mean, to a degree, I feel like they could actually.
Tom Holland could kind of look like a young Tobey Maguire if you tried hard enough.
Like it looks like before Tobey Maguire lost his first girlfriend or something.
Yeah. Do you think? So it was Andrew Garfield's movie where they showed. Was it Mary Jane? No, was it Mary Jane who died? Or am I thinking of
That was Gwen Stacy.
Gwen Stacy.
Garfield.
Yeah,
By the way,
that was was graphic, but also like kind of a shock. Like,
yeah, there was apparently 30 minutes of that movie cut out.
I want to know what that 30 minutes was.
It had Mary Jane.
Yeah, we need that.
Guess who it was?
Who's Mary Jane?
Okay, the only reason I know this is because I had to look her up because I had no idea who she was.
Who is it?
Cheyenne Woodley, the girl that played the main character from Secret Life of the American Teenager. She was the pregnant chick.
Oh. oh. She's Mary Jane?
She was in The Amazing.
Oh. I mean, yeah. It was weird to me having Emma Stone be Gwen Stacy.
I mean, the weirdest part is I saw an image of her on the set, and she looked like Mary Jane from the comics. It was kind of scary.
Yeah.
But like Gwen Stacy, I liked Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy.
I don't mind
get me
her.
wrong.
I think Emma Stone's a good enough actor to pull off anyone.
The only problem I have with it is we have all this technology for vast amounts of CGI and stuff like that. Why didn't they just like do some lighting on her hair? Because that was just really bright, like blonde. Like she's just a blonde chick. She's not like I'm dyed.
She's not platinum blonde. It's true though. I agree that they were a little overkill on the blondness
Right?
for her. No, I agree with that. I think, I don't know, that scene was it still sticks with me, the whole drop, and he tries to save her and then just
That's the whole
snap.
thing though. Like it's a whole thing between like they led up to it. Don't get me wrong, but it's a whole thing between Harry and Peter also. Like him becoming the Goblin and everything that they just did in 5 minutes right after Electro was defeated. And it's just like, I mean, I wasn't disappointed, but I wanted it to be longer.
Yeah, they have cinematic movies in the Marvel and DC universe are hard because they have to take from a comic book who has 200 issues.
Also, like, if you were going to like make Electro the main villain of that, why even have Green Goblin in it, other than maybe at the end becoming the Green Goblin?
I don't know. Maybe they wanted to imply it throughout the movie and they couldn't figure out a way to do it.
Because like, the way I would have done it is marketed it as Electro is going to be everything, but at the end, you know,
At the end, kind of show, oh, wait. And then have like that
the
one
whole
moment.
movie is basically about him and Green Goblin.
Yeah. And Electro's there and he's weird. I mean, I don't know Electro's character. I'm pretty sure. Is that even how he is?
To a degree.
He's just weird obsessed with Spider-Man.
He's not obsessed with Spider-Man, but he's a nerd and he has his obsessions. He's an engineer.
Yeah.
For the most part, his origin's pretty close.
Well, that's interesting. So,
Unlike Harley Quinn's. Get
anyway,
me started on that.
we have a lot to talk about. On Friday, we will be talking about movies, and that's going to be awesome because movies are fun to talk about, and we can talk about critic reviews and our opinions. We're not going to have a comic of the week. We're just going to have all that tied into Friday. I don't know if Friday's podcast is going to be longer. It's probably going to be longer than we think it is because it's going to be so...
I mean, this one was longer than we thought it was.
I mean, it's an hour. A little over an hour. We made it.
Our last one was an hour and 8 minutes.
Yeah, this was probably going to be an hour and 6 or 7 because we're just slowly talking more and more about not the topic. Anything left you have to say about Spider-Man or anything else before we get out of here and upload this bad boy?
Like I mentioned earlier, that YouTube video, the motion comic, I suggest watching that. That if you don't know the story of the death of Spider-Man, it's a good way to just do it because no matter what, you're pretty much not going to know anything prior, and you don't really need to other than Spider-Man is on his way to save Captain America. So
I agree. I go see that. I would also go rewatch any of the old animated adventures of Spider-Man or any animated TV shows.
specifically Spectacular. That's my favorite.
Specifically Spectacular, or really any of them. The Drake Bell one's cool too, or the one from our childhood from like the 90s. It's all good.
Not Spider-Man and Friends. Don't watch that.
Don't watch that. Just go watch Spider-Man.
Don't make yourself sad.
The old Amazing Spider-Man on Cartoon, actually not on Cartoon Network. It was whatever was Channel 11.
Fox?
Kids WB.
Fox.
It was
Spider-Man was on Fox.
Oh man, I am out of here. I'm tired. So that's it. We talked about Spider-Man. Our next one will be up the end of this week because we're going to be talking about movies. Looking forward to it. Check out our Twitter at WADWC cast. Yeah, on Twitter. That's a tough one.
Share this YouTube video, podcast, or whatever with your friends, family, spiders, pets,
Loved ones.
spider hams.
All right, and we are out of here. Peace.